Okay, today we are going to be learning some of the basics of Photoshop by creating a mood board. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to come down here to our dock. This is the full lineup of our apps. We are going to open the blue PS that is Photoshop. Now if it is bouncing, that means it is opening. Photoshop is a really big program, so it does take a while to open. You only need to click it once. As long as it's bouncing, it is opening up. It's gonna look something like this when we open it. If you've done any projects, they're all going to be down here. But for now, we're going to create a new file. Yours should look something like, you have some numbers right here and some words. These first two are the size of your project. If your size is in pixels, our brains don't really work in pixels. So I like to change mine to inches so I know kind of how big this is. A regular sheet of paper is 8.5. So if we want to print this later, and I can always print your work for you, we're going to say 8.5, and the height of a regular piece of paper is 11. Now when you open your Photoshop, your resolution will probably say 72. This is a low quality image. So that means if you later want to blow this up and make it into a really big poster, it's probably gonna be kind of blurry. A high quality image is 300 pixels per inch. A pixel is a little dot of color. So if you put all those little tiny dots of color into 1 inch, that creates your photo. Let's see if I can find a example of pixels. Here we go. So you can see each of these little squares is 1 pixel. If I have 1 pixel per every inch, we get a really blurry photo. And as we increase the number of pixels, it gets more and more clear. X out of this. So we want to have 8.5 by 11 inches and a 300 pixels per inch. We also have a color mode. We have all of these. We're going to focus on RGB or CMYK. If you're creating something for a screen, you are going to use RGB. And if you are going to use something that you want to print out later, you're going to use CMYK. This is because these are the colors that a printer is using. Cyan, magenta, yellow, and K is black. All those colors combined is what a printer uses. And we're going to click Create, and it's going to give us a new project. Get started and kind of see how Photoshop works. We are going to create a mood board. A mood board is a visual, it's kind of a collage. We're putting a bunch of things together, text, images, colors, to show kind of the mood that we want to create. Maybe it's bright and airy, or maybe it's dark and moody, or maybe it's vintage. So you get to decide what kind of mood you want to show. You might also think of this as what kind of aesthetic do you want to show. Since we've already created our project, the second thing we want to do is find some images to put on there. So to do that, we are going to open up our internet, and we are going to find images that relate to our theme of our mood board. So I'm going to start with a color scheme. So this might give me just some color schemes. I really like this. I like these combinations of colors. I want to use this in my mood board. So there are lots of different ways to get an image into Photoshop. You could just try to drag this on to your project and it might show up there. You could also have this saved onto your computer and drag it onto Photoshop from there. You could also come up here to File, and we want to hit Place Embedded. We want this picture to be embedded in our project instead of linked, because if we ever delete our image from where it's saved on the computer, Photoshop won't be able to find it to put it back in your project. So we're going to Place Embedded, and we are going to go back and find that picture on our computer and place it. So those are a few ways to place an image into your project. You can choose whatever works for you. Now I want to go find more images that relate to my mood. So let's go start looking for, I've got some teal, I've got some peach, I've got some navy blue. So let's find some navy blue. What do I want to search for? I've got some nature, some mountains, navy blue sky. Let's see what this comes up with. Maybe I want this one in my mood board. So I'm gonna pull this in there. Now we have all these tools over here. Our first tool is our move tool. So when we click that, this is how we move things around. So I want to start placing my images where I want them to go. You also see you have these squares around your images. This is to make your images bigger or smaller. If you go just outside, you can turn them around. So I'm just going to start placing images in here. And we are going to fill up our project with images that we think fit with our mood. What else could I put in here? I found a bunch of pictures I want to add to my mood board, so I'm just going to start pulling my pictures onto my project and sizing them so they fit. Now you can see the different file types I have. I have JPEGs, I have web pages, and I have AVIFs. I may also see some PNGs. I don't see PNGs on here. Our JPEGs and our PNGs are image files. So if I tried to put a web page image on here, it's not going to go into my project. Or if I pull an AVIF, it's not going to go into my project. What I need to do is open this up, and I need to turn this into a different file type. So I'm going to come up here to File, Export, and I'm going to change this to either PNG or JPEG. PNG works for me. Here's my PNG. And now that works. Now let's try to pull another one on here. I have these beautiful crystals I want to pull in here. But it's not working. So you see, I still have this one selected. That's why it won't let me add this one. It still thinks I am trying to do something with this image. If I click enter or return on my keyboard, it's going to put that image down, and now I can add another image. I'm going to challenge you to turn some of these images around. Make them not all be straight up and down. I'm going to hit enter to put that down. Here's another one I want that's not a JPEG or a PNG. So let's open that up. We're going to File, Export. We're going to export it as a PNG. And now I'm going to go find my PNG image and add it to my image. Now, I really want this image to fill up this white space. So I'm going to make this really big, but it covers up my other photos. This is where we start to pay attention to this box. This is our layers. So this is how things stack on top of each other. This one's all the way in the back. This one's all the way in the front. If I pull this down, I can put this all the way in the back, and you see that blue line that lights up in between? That tells me I'm going to put it in between those two layers. So I'm going to drop it, and it fills up the back. Maybe I want this to fill the entire back of my project. And I'm going to click return to put that down. Last thing we are going to do is add some text. We have this T down here. That is our text tool. We're going to click it, and if we click once, we can add some text. I have some text up here. We're going to highlight it. I just triple clicked to highlight everything, and up in this drop down menu you can change your fonts. I've got all kinds of different fonts in here, like this font right here. You have a drop-down menu that you can change the style. Mine just has regular, but yours might have bold or italic. You can change the size. Maybe I want it bigger, smaller. And you can change the color. Maybe I want it to match kind of the style of the color scheme of my mood board. To get the different colors, you pull your slider bar up and down, and then the different tints and shades, how light or dark you want your text, is moving this little circle around in the box. We're gonna hit OK. Now you notice this types from the middle. Maybe I want to call this Scanzer, and then hit return or enter on my keyboard, mood board. Somewhere we can see it. So it types from the middle. Maybe we're going to highlight this again, and these are called justifications. If it's left justified, then it's going to type from the left side. If it is right justified, it's going to type from the right side. I'm gonna move this over so you can see it. Maybe I don't like that over there because I can't really see it on that dark color. Make it a little bit smaller. Now you can see my text I have in there. Lastly, we need to save our project and turn it in. So we're going to come up here to File, Save As, and we are going to name it My Name Mood Board. We are going to save this in, you should have your name over here. You're going to save it in your name. I don't have my name over here, so I'm going to just save it onto my desktop. I'm going to hit save. We see this is in a Photoshop file. That's going to be a .psd for Photoshop document. That means when you open this back up, it's going to open into Photoshop and you can keep editing. This is what we're going to turn in. Now let's say you want to post this on your social media. Your Instagram is not going to read a Photoshop file, so you would want to save it as an image file. If you ever want to save anything as an image so you can post it other places, we're going to go to File, Export, Quick Export as PNG, and then save it anywhere you want. And you notice you have PNG instead of PSD, and that will be an image file. I don't need that to turn it in right now, so I am just saving it as a PSD. Now we want to turn this into Canvas. So we have Canvas open right here. We're going to go to Modules. We have a mood board turn in conveniently right at the top. We're going to click this open. And we're going to scroll down, and we want to upload our project. You have two ways to find your file. You can click on the rocket ship and go, I saved mine onto my desktop, and there is my project. You can also, if you saved it somewhere on your computer, just drag and drop that file right onto your rocket ship, and it's going to load. You're going to hit Submit Assignment, and it's going to give you some confetti, and you're done. If it says Preview Unavailable, that's because, like most things, this will not read a Photoshop file. So what I'm going to do is download your project and open it up in Photoshop. So don't worry if you have this Preview Unavailable.